it's Wendy from Cohen, Tucker, and Adis talking to you live today about international entrepreneurial rules. This is a great option for individuals who have an idea or have already created a startup, but they actually need a path to status in the US to take that startup from either an idea or from the ground and build it into a business. It's great for a lot of different people, but it's also great for individuals who maybe are from countries that don't have E2 visas, because that is something similar and a topic for another day. But what is this entrepreneurial rule, international entrepreneurial rule? So essentially, there's a lot of competition for people with great ideas. We're competing with other countries, France, Canada, to get individuals with great ideas and the ability to grow and create a successful business. So what we've done is created this rule, or USCIS did. It started under Obama. It was about to take effect at the end of President Obama's administration, but unfortunately, President Trump came in and put the program on pause. Nothing happened. Once Joe Biden took office, the program was revisited and has been put into place. So, how are you eligible for this program? You have to have a substantial ownership interest in a startup entity. That entity has to be created within the last 5 years, has to be based in the US, and it has to have the substantial potential for rapid growth and job creation. You have to have an active and central role in this startup entity. You can't just be a work CEO or depending on the person developing the app or software, whatever this may be, because this is not industry specific. You have to be able to show that you'll be able to help with the growth and success of the overall business. You also have to show that this business will provide significant public benefit to the US. And how do you do that? You show that you've received significant investment capital from qualified US investors with, established records for success. So if you've received some kind of capital investment from a large firm, or even just a private individual who has a lot of success generating, being an incubator for these startups, this could be something. Another option is a startup has received significant awards or grants for economic development, research and development, or job creation. These grants can come from federal, state, or local governments that regularly give out such grants. You can also show you're qualified by partially meeting those two things. So maybe you don't have a ton of investment financing or a significant amount from a US investor, but you have some, and then you have this grant, and between the two of them, you do have a significant amount. You can also show that you also have to show you otherwise merit favorable discretion. Generally speaking, favorable discretion is routinely granted if you're not someone that has a history of immigration violations, criminal activity, or failure to support like dependents. But if you're generally a good person, you have a great idea, you're otherwise eligible, they will exercise discretion. Your spouse and children would be able to qualify for this role benefit if you're given it. Now, how do you do it? Go about getting this. You have to file what's called a Form I-941. It's an application for entrepreneur parole that is filed with USCIS with a filing fee. The filing fee is $1,200 plus a biometrics fee of $85. Please note fees are subject to change. So if you're watching this video a year from now, don't rely on those fees being accurate. You can always find the current fees on USCIS's website, which is www.uscis.gov. Along with that form, you have to submit your supporting evidence, as you can imagine, and then you wait for a decision. You can receive an approval, you can receive a request for additional evidence, also known as an RFE, or you may receive a denial if your evidence is not sufficient. Once the application is approved, for most individuals, you will have to make an appointment at the U.S. consulate or embassy near your home to obtain a travel document that will allow you to enter the U.S. You can't just take your approval notice and use that to get on a plane and enter the country. You will need a boarding foil or something that kind of looks like a visa in your passport. If you're Canadian, you may present the actual approval notice. That is sufficient. But again, that's only for Canadian citizens. You can also, while here, file for employment authorization and a travel document that will allow you to come in and out of the country while you're here on parole. It'll also allow for work authorization for your family members. Again, qualifying family members, that's spouse and unmarried children under the age of 21. So with this parole program, it's a great option, especially if you already have a startup in the works, or you've created one, or you have an idea for one and you have some interested investors, but people are wondering how you're going to run it when you're overseas. This is something that you can look at. Again, it is similar in many aspects to an E2 visa, not 100% the same, but it is similar, or like an L1A new office, but it also has its benefits because it is parole versus a visa. Sometimes E2s, L1s, they can get very tedious in their requirements. These requirements seem to be a little less stringent in the sense that you need to show investment. There's it versus, for example, you have to show not only an investment, you have to show that investment's not marginal. That investment typically comes from you or your family members. It is something that is not just something that you can get from private sources. You also have to show that you're going to be a manager or executive. Again, that is similar to this parole, but not exactly 100%, because if you're not the management or executive type, but you're going to be like the chief development officer or the chief science officer, or just the person responsible for the overall development of the product, the service, the software, you would still qualify. So it is a great option. We're happy to talk to you more about it and the process and the timing. If you're interested, please contact us. Our phone number is 212-840-0050. You can also contact us through our website, which is www.cohentuckerlaw.com. Thank you. Have a great day.